flu was thing to happen since swine flu. They call me COVID-19, but I'm also known as Coco Corona. Coco Corona. Coco Corona. Coco Corona. Virus. Everybody stay indoors. Just remain on your own shores. Everybody stay indoors. No leaving your shores. Coco Corona. Coco Corona. Coco Corona. Coco Corona. Sanitize yourself. Sanitize yourself. Sanitize yourself. Sanitize yourself. Go Corona. So that was a song by today's guests, Two Lions, who I actually have in studio with me here today. Oh, what's that you're saying, Ludwig von B? There are actually 3 lions? Well, yeah, that's actually the weird thing with them. They're called 2 lions, though it's not spelled like the number. It's spelled T-O-O, and there are 3 lions. Oh, that's not your problem? You're saying these are probably not... Yeah. Okay, Ludwig von B is a point. It is a band called 2 Lions. It is not actually these 2 or 3 lions. Look, this is a pretty cool toy. It is the baby in the mouth. Anyway, check out my interview with this funky duo. They play guitar, bass, and rap together. They're a lot of fun. They make comedy songs like the one you just heard. Let's hear from the band that gave you Coco Corona. So I'm joined today by 2 lions. That's Arjun Ranjit, Rohin Nair, and Avran Etiye. Can I ask you about the name of the band first? Firstly, there aren't 2 of you. Secondly, you don't even spell 2 that way. What's going on there?
There's a small backstory behind that, I think.
Okay, so what happened was when we started out, so I'm a big wildlife fan, all right? So I watch a lot of like Discovery Channel and all of that. And we were watching TV together, and we'd already been started making music for like around like a few months. And what happened was we couldn't come up with a name because it was just really hard. And so one day we were just watching TV, and I saw like this documentary about lions and the pride and all of that. And most of these prides actually have like 2 or 3 lions, at the head of the group, So I was like, you know what, we should just call ourselves 2 Lions, man, and we can just add whoever we want later on, and we can have like our own pride or some stupid shit, some rubbish like that. And then he was like, yeah, fine. We just fed up at that point. We just like first name we come up with, just put up that. So it was 2 Lions. And what happened was we actually started as TWO, me and him together.
So initially it was just Rohit and me. Avran joined us later, so it was 2 Lions.
But then what happened was we got copyright infringement, because there was another band in the US called 2 Lions, which we didn't know. So then they were like, okay, so now what do we do? Everyone knows us as 2 Lions, so what do we do now? So you know what? Let's just remove the W and make it an O. No one will know. And so we made that TOO Lions, and
So when you say copyright infringement, is that just like creating a Spotify account, or like did they have to act?
They had an Instagram and Spotify. We were having like our first concert, so we had put out some advertisements online, and then they messaged us saying that you can't use this and we'll take you to court and things like that. I'm like, we have like 50 fans or 50 followers.
Yeah, half of them are families. So.
Yeah, so what size band are they?
They're also not that huge. They were just like some band from America.
Yeah, bottom of the wrong fight that we had going on. So we were like, you know what, let's not get into trouble as soon as we start. So let's.
So we changed it to 2 Lions as TOO, and now we can add how many other people we want. So it's 2 Lions. So.
Right, and I mean there's so many bands, the Beatles, the Byrds, the Monkees, that intentionally misspell their names. So now you're part of that tradition, and exactly. The other band's stuck with the boring name. When you talked about lions leading the pride, that would be lionesses, correct?
Yes, of course. Lions don't do any of the work. They just like to laze around and get the food,
right,
and all of that. So yeah, I think you have a point there.
Yeah, well,
assume genders.
For sure. Well, music is a great space for exploring that kind of stuff. I don't see you as a glam rock band, but if you ever went that direction, that would be really cool. I also want to ask, you have a slightly unusual makeup. You have a singer, a singer guitarist, a bassist, and a rapper. It actually makes me think of the New Zealand comedy band Flight of the Conchords. Tell me how your sound came together. What influences are there?
They are one of our big influences, in fact. But I think individually, three of us have different influences. Like my influences is more towards a singer songwriter. I would say Jack Johnson is one of my biggest influences, uh, and Rohit is into hip hop a lot. So and Avran's into the Beatles. So we sort of try to
Blend all of that
mash that
together.
up together, and then we don't sing about really serious topics
Yeah.
as such. We take very light-hearted or
Yeah.
very random topics of everyday
Because
life.
it's like so I listen to hip hop, and most of the themes that hip hop covers are like very serious and stuff like that. But the thing is, we don't live very serious lives. Luckily, we've been lucky enough to have good fortunate life. So you can't like lie and say that, hey, I'm a gangster and all of that. That doesn't make sense. So we had to like reiterate the rap form to kind of work for this kind of a format, and that's what I've been doing for the past couple of years with stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how many cases there are of rappers crossing over with a more folk or soul sound, however you want to describe the group. Like, are there other footsteps you're following, or do you really feel like by being this very light rapper playing with acoustic music, it's your own thing?
Yeah, there is. So one of the I just realized recently that one of my biggest influences growing up in terms of this form of rap was the Lonely Island. With Adam
Mm.
Sandberg and the other two guys. Said yes, and that's the kind of music I would actually gravitate towards because it's very lighthearted, but it's also like got like a little message or it's a lot of fun. So I wanted to bring that out, to an Indian context more importantly because we make music for Indians mainly because that's the target audience we're making towards. So that was the thought behind what I initially started out with, and then over the time I also discovered Flight of the Conchords because of these guys, and that's kind of like influenced it a little bit more. And also recently this Adam Sandler special had come out, and that had like a really huge impact because I was like, wow, you can make music this way and make it entertaining as well. It doesn't have to always be on serious stuff because even though we do have ups and downs, we don't like to think of it as everyone's singing about that stuff. I'm not going against them, but we're not the kind of people who would do that. So we want to make it a bit more lighthearted, and that's kind of one of the reasons I write in that way, in that fashion.
Right.
You can say even Tenacious D also is
Mm.
sort of
Yeah.
influences, right?
Mm. Yeah, no, these are all things I know a little bit, but I could certainly know more. One thing I was wondering though, in listening to your music, I sometimes write songs. I wouldn't say they're comedy or silly, but they're a bit quirky or out there. And one of my worries is that if I brand myself that way, then people aren't going to want to listen to more serious songs. I imagine if Weird Al or Flight of the Conchords were to put out a serious album, even if it was well made, people would be like, "Oh, this is kind of underwhelming. I was expecting to laugh." Do you have that worry, or are you just happy to go forward doing comedy songs?
I think with the two lines, we want to continue in the comedy line as such. But when we do our individual stuff, three of us do individual stuff as well. So that those topics are much different than what we do here. So when we're doing it individually, we more to the slightly serious
Yeah.
stuff. But when we're together as two lions, we like to keep it light and interactive with the audience, sing-alongs and things like that.
Yeah.
Right. So, to my knowledge, you have the one song released, Coco Corona, and you have another song, which I guess is not published, but I've heard. Can you talk a bit about those two releases?
So the first one, Coco Corona, was last year when the Corona just hit us. So we were just so how we come up with songs. We three of us stay together. So in the evening we just jam with acoustic guitar. Sometimes some tune just sticks into my head and I come up with the chorus. And that was the time where the Corona was just coming in. So I came up with this sort of chorus that time, and then we thought, whoa, this is actually catchy because for the next 2 days that chorus was in our mind. So we thought let's work on something on these lines, and so that's how we came up with the song as such, Coco Corona, and people really took to it well, and
Yeah.
a lot of people said that once they listened to it, it was stuck in the head for the longest
Right.
time. So that's one thing that we want to do with our music, that make sure that at least one part gets stuck in the head, and it takes a while for it to leave
Get
you.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I remember hearing that it's a pun in Hindi.
Corona in Hindi means to do, basically. So
Okay.
karo is to do, karo na together is to do something, basically. We
Okay.
didn't really use it as a pun, but it works in the song. I guess people think of it like that.
And so is the other one a secret for now? You're waiting to
No,
release it?
No,
we played it live like a lot of
we
times.
played it live
Yeah.
on our Zoom shows that we're doing. So it's almost done in terms of production. Just have to tweak a bit here, get the artwork done, and then put it out. We also want to do a sort of music video with us because I think with our music, a little visual is slightly important. Just the audio won't have the impact as such. So hopefully, but we're still under lockdown here in India. So
I see.
once things open
Yeah.
up and things like that, we probably
Because we finished the song around like a month, almost a month and a half back, and we were all pumped. We were like, "Yo, next week we're gonna shoot the video, and we're gonna like finish the song. We're gonna make a press kit." And next thing you know, we're sitting at home. We're like, "Oh shit, no, not this again."
Yeah, it actually is a very different sound than Coco Corona because you have drums in there, you have horns. It really sounds like soul. So are those real instruments? Is it keyboards?
So what we the Coco Corona was more of a DIY sort of situation where we just recorded ourselves. So we're not that great at production. So with the second song, we actually got a producer on board with us. So
Hmm.
he helped us with the sound. So we gave him a sort of idea
Reference,
of
yeah.
reference in what the sound we want, and then he helped us build on that. So that's why there's a lot of bass elements. There's some horn sections and
It's a very
and
funky
things
kind of
like
vibe that we
that.
wanted.
Right. So are those session musicians?
Uh, Not really. Our producer basically he's a guitarist, a
Hmm.
keyboardist. So we've not got session musicians. He's done most of the
Yeah.
production
Yeah,
work
cool.
himself.
Well, it's really well done. And the theme on that song is addictive online shopping. I was wondering if that was inspired by any experiences. My experience actually is lots of the ads I see online are very bad. Facebook generates all these overly specific T-shirts like "Don't mess with a fan of Torino's soccer club and New York Giants football who lives in this state" or whatever. But what's your experience with that problem?
Yeah, so I'm a huge e-commerce addict. I'm very ashamed to say it also, but I buy stuff that I really don't need. So I think a couple of weeks back I bought three sets of chopsticks that I really don't need. So I'm always on the lookout to buy stuff that I don't need, and I kind of realize that this is something that a lot of people go through, where they just end up buying stuff that they don't really need. And I was talking to these guys as well, and they were telling the same thing that sometimes you just can't stop from buying, because we had a huge problem between where we would just keep buying shirts online for no reason. We were very addicted to these tropical shirts, the ones with the leaves and all of that.
Yeah.
And we were like, "Yo, this is our look, man. We need to go for
So
this."
what was it about the chopsticks?
Exactly. So like I'm saying, I buy the most random stuff that I don't need. That was a trigger. The shirts were the trigger, and from that I went to a whole deep hole into buying a lot of stuff that I didn't want, and that finally concluded with me getting these chopsticks, and that's when I kind of realized that what, I should kind of like tone this down a little bit, because I'm simply spending money on it. I don't want, but I can't stop myself from doing it.
And we realize, so even if we're talking at home, say we want to buy this, want to buy, the next day we get that ad on our phone. We're like, what? We
Yeah.
just spoke about this yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm
because
like,
this literally happened when we were talking, and we were talking about trampolines or something like that. And literally, like 3 seconds, he opened his phone, he got an ad for a trampoline, like a fun theme park, and I was like, "Yo, this is wild, man." So they probably are listening to us if you think about it.
I mean, I've heard it said that the listening thing is a myth, and it's just that most people have typed in at some point the things they talk about. But yeah, I don't really have the technical.
sometimes we like to do experiments and purposely talk about things and see if it shows up on our phone.
Yeah.
I think one time we're like, let's plan a trip to Russia, and we're like, yeah, we need to book flights to Russia, and we're waiting to see if we get a pop up on that. So far that experiment didn't work, but a few others did.
Yeah, they're playing it smart too. So
So do you have any plans going forward? Do you see yourselves as an album band, or is it going to continue to be one song at a time kind of thing?
So we actually have around 8 songs which we have written down. So we are looking at whether to put it out as a whole album or put out singles. So our initial plan was to put out a few singles and then put out a whole album of the 8 songs. And we want, in terms of sound, we're trying to make each song have a different vibe
Right,
to it.
yeah.
So
Right.
that's a sort of short or long term plan. Taking a while because of this whole lockdown situation and things like that.
Sure. It occurred to me as I was asking these questions that the e-commerce thing and Corona, they're thematically connected because people are buying online a lot more these days. Is there any chance this is going to be a Corona themed album?
No, we don't want to get typecast as a Corona. We actually have written another song which about the vaccine, which is just something for Instagram. We're not probably adding it to our album, but we realized that a lot of our content is sort of around the whole Corona thing. Because
and
that's
Avran had actually raised this topic question a few weeks back, and I was like, oh my god, you're right. All of us are just talking about it. So even actually the e-commerce song did come out from the coronavirus, because that was the time when e-commerce really boomed, the last 1.5 years. And we normally look at topics that are topical, but also at the same time, are can be general enough to be listened to a few years later. But at this moment, the only influences that we have are the coronavirus. And I think all of the songs that we have been making for the past 1.5 years are an evolution of that. Be it the e-commerce song or the a dating app song, which a lot of people use as well.
Yeah, so some of the themes for our other song, one is about dating apps, one is about smokers, one is about smokers. The other one,
Actually, if you think about it, every song is coronavirus in the world. Yeah, every song in the world is coronavirus themed. If you think about it.
Yeah. Well, this has been great. Do you have a song you can perform for us today?
Sure.
So I think you've heard the e-commerce and Corona, so we'll play something else.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds fun.
So this song that we have today is about this universal phenomenon called ghosting, where a lot of people go on apps and just get ghosted. So it's a very Indian context song because guys in India cannot accept rejection, and so we kind of tweaked it for that topic. So this is how it goes. It's called Ghost Ya.
It's basically on dating, about dating apps.
So I do this thing where I count down random numbers. So I'm going to do that again. So 8. Ready?
Okay, check the bass. Can you hear the bass there?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
The guitar's fine.
All right. Okay, so 8, 9, 4, 3. Here's a piece of advice. To start your conversation, say something nice. 'Cause if you play your cards right, you might just end up swiping right on your future wife. Take it slow, and get to know if she's a Capricorn or a Scorpio. Make a note of the things she loves. If you acting creepy, she gonna ghost ya. She gonna ghost ya. It's been around a week, you lose your hope, yeah. She gonna ghost ya. She gonna ghost ya. She's a 10 and you're a 3, not even close, yeah. She gonna ghost ya, gonna ghost ya. Time to pay that monthly premium, need a booster. She gonna ghost ya, gonna ghost ya. It's time to take the hint, there ain't no future. Swipe left if you're under 6 feet tall.
Swipe left if you only want a booty call.
Swipe left if you don't really like to do the correct.
Swipe left if you never wanna split the check. Split the check.
There ain't no future here, there ain't no present. The ones who play it cool, their pain will lessen. This is your time to know that validation ain't the way to go. So find some common ground and let the conversation flow. She might just end up ghosting ya, you might just end up hosting her. Wake up in the morning, have some breakfast, egg and toast on her. Good for you, just take the clue, just wait for her to make a move. And once you're done with all the fun, you gotta be on the run. Why? She gonna ghost ya. It's been around a week, you lose your hope, yeah. She gonna ghost ya. She gonna ghost ya. She's a 10 and you're a 3, not even close, yeah. She gonna ghost ya, gonna ghost ya. Time to pay that monthly premium, need a booster. She gonna ghost ya, gonna ghost ya. It's time to take the hint, there ain't no future. Alright, for all my boys and girls out there, sometimes this weird phenomenon happens to all of y'all, and that's called getting ghosted. You just gotta take it in your stride, and just move on. Because sometimes it's a give and take relationship. So just be happy and remember one thing. And the one thing you gotta remember all the time is 3, 2, 1. She's not your boo. So she don't owe you nothing, man. Just move on from that shit. She's not your boo.
And keep swiping, you can find someone else in the next 10 minutes.
She's not your boo.
Yeah, don't make it hard on yourself and hard for her.
She's not your boo.
So play it cool, alright?
She's not your boo.
Very nice. Little surprise feminism there, and very catchy song as well. Two Lions, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks for having us.
That was Two Lions. My only regret is that I found them too early. If maybe I come to them a few months down the road, they have that whole album out and so many more great songs to talk about. I now know 3 of their songs. I know Coco Corona, I know Card Attack, and of course you just heard that excellent song about ghosting at the end of the show. One thing I had to think about, they said they wrote that Corona song early in the pandemic, and that's indeed true. I met them at an open mic in April where they played that song. And I can't help but thinking, would they now rewrite the song instead of sanitize yourself to be mask up, mask up? Anyway, should have asked them that, but had a great time talking to them today. Check out their music, especially when there's more of it, but honestly, I could just bop to that Corona song all day. Go, 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 Corona. Anyway, I'm Zach Morgenstern. Those are Two Lions. These are also Two Lions. This is Ludwig von B. See you next time.